Well, hello, and thank you for joining me for the Alex on Tech and IT TV interview. Today, I'm joined by Natasha Rock. She is the Remote Support Group Lead APAC at GoTo. Welcome to the program.
Good afternoon. Hi, Alex. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for
Happy to be
taking the
here.
time. Yeah, no, thank you for taking the time. Now, Natasha, can we please start at the beginning, and can you give us a high-level recap of GoTo as we are here now, well into the second half of 2022?
Absolutely. I mean, time flies, right? We are in the second half of 2022 already. To put it simply, I'd say go to help the business to be able to connect and to support their employees and customers. That's as simple as it gets, right? And basically, in this hybrid work environment that we're all living in, I think that's the key, right? Being productive for employees and for customers to be productive and be successful from anywhere. How does GoTo do that? By being the all-in-one essential connections solution. All right. So what we offer is we have an IT support portfolio and we've got a communication portfolio that strengthens and provides one platformized model for businesses to be able to do just that, which is support and connect their employees and customers.
Now, we're also using GoTo technology right now to connect. Normally, people might be familiar with using Zoom or Teams or Google Meet. But can you please tell us about GoTo's technology in this regard and how it compares?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what we are using today actually is called GoTo Meeting. Okay, so this is GoTo's video conferencing platform. I spoke earlier about the communication portfolio that we offer as part of GoTo. So this is one of the essential connection solutions as part of that. It's part of the GoTo Connect portfolio, where we offer business communication software. So as part of this, we offer messaging, we offer meeting, collaboration for customers to be able to have their internal meetings, external meetings, as well as set up webinars, to have their virtual trainings, to have their all hands, all of that on one communication platform. So you should be able to access it via a web app or a mobile app on your phones or through a simple web browser, right? And so the app is downloadable across every device, across every operating system, and it offers basically for administrators unified administration of all their GoTo products. Say they have both the connection and the support portfolios, they can administer both on one unified administrative console.
And recently, you launched GoTo Resolve. So, what is it, and why is it different to other solutions?
Yeah, that's a good question, Alex. I'd like to go into a little bit of, our
Please.
understanding behind our, the idea of GoTo Resolve, right? So over the last 2 years with the pandemic, all of us saw a whole different world, right? And GoTo, having been in the business of remote working for the last 19 years, since 2003, we were, there was no solution more important than our solutions at, I mean, we can, frankly say that, where communicating and connecting and supporting employees became the need of the hour. Previously, it used to be a good to have because people had brick and mortar offices. They had people to walk up to speak to them, to get IT support. But over the last 2 years, with everybody working remotely, it became the necessity of the hour. And so what we being having, offering remote support solutions for 19 years, we became, or the usage on our products became all the more important, right? It grew 1,000%. And so what we did is we offered our solutions for free for various businesses. I mean, all of that aside, at the end of 2021, that is mostly in the beginning of this year, 2022, we had a lot of data in our hands, right? Because we served thousands of customers over the last 2 years. And so we had those data points and we looked at those data and all of that feedback that we had gathered. And it looked to us a very stark, message, a strong message was conveyed through that data points. And it was that SMBs were the ones that suffered the most, right? Because over the last 2 years, they scrambled, they had no solutions in their kitties to support their employees, to connect, to be able to keep their businesses productive. And so they scrambled overnight to set up those solutions. So at the end of this, the whole 2 years, what they woke up to realize is they had so many solutions all at once now, which they were either overpaying for or they were not paying for, which were not secure enough, and they needed to consolidate, right? So the tools that they needed, either they did not have or it was spread across multiple different providers and different solutions, and they were too complicated to manage and to be able to consume on a daily basis, right? So it was taking away more time from the agents and from the employees than giving them time and making them more productive, right? So we built GoTo Resolve. So that was the founding inspiration behind GoTo Resolve. And so we built GoTo Resolve to address those needs. So we platformized all the SMB's needs on one single solution. So the remote support, remote monitoring and management, conversational ticketing, zero trust security, all of that put together on one platform, right? So GoTo Resolve is easy to deploy, it's secure, and it provides a first to market zero trust security architecture. And we also provide conversational ticketing where an employee need not switch to a different ticketing solution just to raise a ticket, right? They can just use their Slack or they can use their Microsoft first with an IT agent, and that automatically converts to a ticket for the agent. So this unification of the most necessary IT tools gives GoTo Resolve that importance in the market because it simplifies the agent experience and it makes it, less cost effective. I mean, it's basically less costly for them, where they can, they can spend less and get more and do more. And furthermore, GoTo Resolve is built on GoTo's unified admin system, the unified admin app that I spoke about earlier. So IT administrators can administer their communication tools, which is GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar, as well as GoTo Resolve on one administrative console.
Well, I mean, in an age of digital acceleration, we also ended up with digital complexity. So it's good to see that some of these things are being digitally simplified.
Absolutely. That's the idea.
Can you give us a demo of the GoTo Resolve environment?
Sure, absolutely. I'd love to.
Okay.
So I'm quickly going to grab screen control. So just to give you a brief on what I'm about to do, Alex, is to show you how GoTo Resolve works and that whole unification that I spoke about, right? So as you see here, I'm simply on the GoTo website, right? We pretty much, you can find all our products, all our solutions on this one website. We've got all by industry, we've got by product, we've got the communication and collaboration side of things, which is GoTo Connect, GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar, which I spoke about. And then we've got the remote access support, which is GoTo Resolve, Pro, Central, Rescue, GoTo My PC, etc. Right? So all of that unified on one platform. Now, for me to be able to access GoTo Resolve, which is my IT support platform, I just need to sign in. Right? So I'd go to sign in, we enter my username and password, and it would take me into GoTo Resolve, okay, which is the IT support for me to launch off, and there you go. So now if I had signed up for the communications platform, which is GoToWebinar or GoToTraining, and I needed those licenses, I'd have them as part of this console as well. Again, I can say launch GoTo Resolve or launch GoToMeeting, launch GoToWebinar, whichever is the need of the hour for me, right? For now, I need to, do some IT support. So I'm going to launch GoTo Resolve. Okay, there you go. It's as easy as that, right? And as you can, I'm just going to walk you through some of the key features of GoTo Resolve now. And I spoke about it earlier, where we've got the consolidation of remote support, remote monitoring and management, zero trust security, conversational ticketing, all of that on one platform. So you see on the left-hand side, that's exactly it, right? You've got the devices, which is a customer's device list. So you see this list that we are looking at here, the preferred devices and the standard devices. Those are all the devices that a company manages in their infrastructure. So that could be their mobile phones, it could be their laptops, their computers, it could be a Mac or a Windows, it could be their servers, all of them listed out here in an easy to use, easy to view list. And then when you quickly click on any of the devices, it gives you background information on that device, right? What is the device? What's the status? Is it online? Is it offline? What's the, is there Windows directory data? What operating system is running on this particular device? What's the host name? When has it been online since? All of that. It's all of that background information for you to be able to, for the agent to be able to diagnose what an issue or potential issue could be, right? So if they see, for example, that the CPU utilization is higher than normal, or if they see that the network capacity or the memory bandwidth is not as it should be, they can make corrective actions through the various further functions, which I will walk you through, All right, and from here, they can also choose to launch the file manager and transfer files from this device to theirs, or from their device to this end user device, or start a remote control session from here itself. Okay, so that's the device list, which gives basically an agent a
Yep.
comprehensive breakdown of all the devices in their network to be able to manage them and monitor them. Then if they choose to provide reactive support, which is the key thing, right? The remote support when an end user has an issue, he or she would have raised a ticket or called into the support team to raise that. And so once they are alerted of that issue, they would come onto this side of things, which is a support side, to instantly remote support with that end user. If it's a mobile device, if it's an iOS or Android device, they would use the mobile device support side of things to resolve that issue on the mobile, or use a camera share. Now, a camera share, you might ask, what is that, right? Because we've got remote support, supports a a laptop or a computer. We've got mobile device support. So what more is there, right? But camera share allows for hardware support, where not all devices have an operating system or an internet connection that can be remoted into to resolve that issue, right? There are devices like your printers, your routers, or even your computer's keyboard, which cannot be remotely controlled and any issues resolved, right? So for such issues, you need a camera share where an agent can connect with an end user through a camera live streaming camera session, and be alerted to what that issue is, and then being able to guide that end user and what can be done to troubleshoot and resolve that issue. Okay, so it's as simple as that. Help desk is very simple. We're keeping it very, very basic because we want an end user to not have to do too many things to raise an issue or to report some trouble that they are facing. So as simple as just starting a conversation on Slack or Microsoft Teams, and that would come in here for an IT agent. It would be reported as an open ticket, as you see here on the left hand side. And then once an IT agent assigns himself, or an administrator assigns that ticket to an IT agent, that would get into the in progress queue, which then can be worked on by that agent and then closed. So when they're working on a ticket, they can choose to start a support session, connect to the camera, view the basic details of that, and enter basic details of that ticket, right? What is their comments, like what are the different activities they performed? Is it still not working? Then what needs to be done by the L2 agent, whom the ticket would then get escalated to? So all of those notes can be entered in here, and then they can either close the ticket or pass it over to somebody else. Okay. On the remote execution side, we've got, this is, while we saw remote support and help desk for an end user, remote execution is for your devices, right? We saw that whole device list. So here is where you would choose to remote an execution job, which is, say you want to install an application on a computer, or you want to shut down a computer or restart a computer, or you want to transfer a file from one to the other, right? So all of those jobs, or for example, if you want to do patch management or application updates or manage your antivirus, right? So all of that can be done through this remote execution feature. For you to be able to remotely execute jobs in the background without interrupting an end user's daily work. Okay, so that's basically a summary of all the functions that we have on one platform. And this is, a lot of our SMBs are currently using GoTo Resolve, and they found it to be extremely efficient in terms of saving that time, saving that, switching between applications, giving them everything in one unified console, and as well as with enterprise-grade security, right? Because I think security is another need of the hour as much as connections and support is, given the amount of breaches and cyber attacks that have happened over the last 2 years. They're looking at simple solutions, but they're looking at complicated, advanced security. And that's what GoTo Resolve also offers, with banking-grade, enterprise-grade security and the zero trust security layer, where if I were to perform any of the remote execution jobs right now, or if I were to take control of your machine, for example, Alex, it would ask me for a signature key before I can do that. Although I'm logged in, I'd need to doubly verify my identity, which is that zero trust, where we don't trust the agent, we don't trust the endpoint, right? We trust that key, which the agent has to key in to identify himself before he's allowed to access a customer's machine, right?
Yeah,
So
I think I
that's
saw that
a
popping
quick,
up every now and then with the
yes,
asking for the key.
exactly. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So that key is only unique to the agent. He is not, he does not get to store it on the cloud or store it on GoTo Resolve. None of our customer support teams would have access to that. Only that agent would be aware of that key. And if he were to forget it, only he can reset it, because that's how impenetrable we've made the zero trust layer. So there's no way that any external person or third party person would be able to get access to that password. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
All
I've heard a
right.
lot about
So
zero trust. It's good to see it actually being implemented.
absolutely, it's the buzz of it's the trending word today, right? Zero trust security. Every application, a SaaS-based application out there today is building zero trust into their applications as we speak. But given that GoTo Resolve is something we conceptualized and launched off this year, we had that advantage of making sure it comes built in with it already. So that's a quick demo of GoTo Resolve. I hope that gave you a good overview of all the functions that we're trying to, consolidate and offer to our SMBs and mid-market sized companies. Yeah.
You also recently launched an expanded contact center offering for SMBs. So, what are the new features and benefits of that?
Yeah, thanks for asking, Alex. So just to give you a little bit of a background, traditional contact center capabilities that were initially designed to alleviate these pain points, right? That is being able to connect and communicate, create connections and communication channels between employees and customers, were often overpriced, right? And they were often overly complicated for SMBs to be able to deploy. So we took those pain points, we heard that feedback, and we launched GoTo Contact Center to meet the needs of these SMBs with features such as, cross-channel collaboration, real-time analytics that helps, leaders understand business and customer representative performance, all in one centralized location. And these time-saving features, like, an outbound dialer to accelerate the speed of sales calls, or pre-recorded voicemails to automatically play while, I'm sorry, pre-recorded voicemails to automatically play while moving on to the next call. And, not to mention its affordability compared to other solutions, right? So the key here was keeping it affordable, keeping it, simple and easy to use. So the best part is companies can maximize their customer engagement digitally by unifying the multi-channel communications with GoTo Connect's contact center, which is, the web chat, Facebook, Instagram, and all of this can be unified and connected. And it would also give them the deeper analytics to help these businesses to make data-driven decisions that impacts their customer satisfaction and their revenue generation. Yeah, so that's to quickly summarize, the contact center.
Sure. Well, the next question is always to ask about the customers, if you can mention any of them and any success stories, whether that's within Australia or around the world.
Yeah, talking about that, I mean, I think what immediately comes to mind is our recent partnership with the Small Business Association of Australia. We recently partnered with them, and we're very honored and very privileged to have been able to do that. We are the dedicated official flexible work technology partner for the Small Business Association. Because in recent years, like I've said earlier, small businesses have struggled a lot, right? They've struggled to support the evolving and the flexible workforce that they were suddenly thrust into. And the technology that they needed to maintain these essential connections with their employees and with their customers became critical decisions, right? So at GoTo, with our mission to make IT easy, we built a portfolio of tools specifically for our SMBs and for the growing businesses. And so for today's workers in these SMBs that expect ease of use, they expect employers to, want to maximize their productivity. These small businesses, they need simple, they need intuitive, they need affordable tools and technology that would make it easier to manage the technology and get work done. And so this association of small businesses across Australia is our, are dedicated partner in this space. We are dedicated partners for them in this space, and we provide all these essential connection solutions to all of these companies in that association. We're also about to announce an extension of our official partnership with the Sydney Football Club as they move into the new Alliance Stadium and the Sky Park Elite Training Facility. We are extending that partnership, which we've already had with them, and we are building in the need for our portfolio of business communications and IT support solutions that have provided the Sydney FC with the perfect platform for growth over the last 6 months. And this partnership extension is more important than ever over the coming months to enable continued growth and success for them. And talking about, I spoke about, some of the small businesses already using GoTo Resolve and already using our GoTo Connect portfolios, right? So they've already been, be able to use them, being able to deploy them in their environments. And they've come back to us with some very specific feedback and reviews, which we were very, happy to hear about. Some of them are saying, especially about GoTo Connect, they've said, Evan Casey, the head of customer service at UMart, for example, has said that he was pleasantly surprised that GoTo turned out to be more affordable than their previous solution. And they gained, greater features and services than they had with their previous company. When they got into the crux of it all, they found that GoTo's phone, meeting, messaging, and contact center solution was fit for purpose, and it met all their commercial goals. So that's just one such example of customers using our contact center solution or our IT support solution to to maintain profitability as well as managing their essential connections.
Yeah. Now we seem to be finally, in the post-pandemic timeframe, thankfully. So as we mentioned before, there was a lot of acceleration during the pandemic. People were forced to do it, take up the cloud, do remote work, remote service, and all the rest. So has GoTo seen that momentum accelerate, slow, or remain roughly the same? And how do you see that?
Yeah, I think we've definitely been in the remote working space for the last 19 years. So I think we, would be the right people to ask in terms of, where do you see it going, or what do you think it looks like right now? I'd say, by the data that all those data points that I spoke about earlier, while digital acceleration has slowed since the pandemic began, digital adoption and transformation has continued to rise at a steady pace, right? The flexible work world that we're all living in now, it brings a lot of strain on IT, right? According to a recent survey that we did with Frost and Sullivan, it says that recent data says that 76% of SMB IT decision makers said that the workload of IT workers have increased due to the adoption of flexible work, right? And 43% of this set of customers have said that IT jobs have become more difficult than it was, right? So if you think about that, prior to 2 years earlier, IT jobs were already complicated, right? They had a lot on their plates there. They had their full 9 hours or 10 hours or 8 hours consumed by all their IT work. Right now, it has increased. It has become more difficult. So how are they going to manage that? Right. As a result of this finding, a lot of the IT leaders have realized that they need to increase their IT budgets. Right. So IT budgets have also skyrocketed. In 2022, IT budgets have increased by 77%. Okay, for companies from 2021. But this new wave of economic uncertainty, right? We're looking at a potential recession. We're looking at skyrocketing, IT workloads. We're looking at the need for additional staffing and additional additional manpower to be added into businesses. So businesses are currently preparing for what is ahead, and they've started thinking about how to maximize ROI with the tools that would give them more for less. All right. So businesses and IT teams are looking to invest in technology that improves their remote work and consolidates their tech stacks and eases up their workload on IT teams, many of which are remote today. Right? So with the record high inflation that we're seeing across the world, it's not about spending more anymore. It's about spending smarter. Right? So looking forward, businesses will want the best bang for their buck when it comes to IT spending. Right? Investments will be focused on solutions that provide more functionality with fewer overhead costs, such as remote IT solutions and zero trust network security models. And with the Australian government's digital economy strategy, more and more SMBs will be asked to be, to take advantage of that $1 billion that is being provided to support the digitalization of their operations. And with the new bonus tax deduction this financial year. So yeah, so we're looking at digital adoption and transformation and looking at spending, getting more with spending less in today's world.
So one of the questions that I always like to ask is, how do you see GoTo evolving over the next couple of years? Are there any sneak peeks of future products, services, features and benefits that you can share, or is that all a bit top secret until it's launched?
Well, definitely some that's top secret and some that we'd like to, definitely announce out there and make the world aware of it. As I said, with GoTo Resolve being a platform that we launched off this year in 2022, right? Having taken all that data and that feedback we got from our customers over the last 2 years, we definitely are, GoTo Resolve is definitely a platform that we are very highly invested in for the future. Right, so our vision is to make GoTo Resolve the all-in-one, the number one IT support platform. So with that, we are consistently building on top of GoTo Resolve. Over the last 6 months since its launch, we've had 10 major feature deployments on GoTo Resolve itself, and we have a very full roadmap, which is, for features to come. So some of that I'd like to disclose, and some of that, of course, which I can't. Like, for example, on GoTo Resolve, when I showed you the demo, as part of the remote execution piece, there's a lot more functionality that we're building into that. For example, patch management for customers to be able to run patches, to deploy patches across their network, for them to be able to manage their antivirus. If they don't have an antivirus solution of their own, they can use GoTo Resolves. It will come packaged with antivirus as well. We're also going to have integrations with some of the top players, some of the top SaaS solutions in the world today. Like, you've got Zendesk, you've got ServiceNow, which is most frequently used across businesses. So we're going to be integrating with them and offer out-of-the-box integrations to our customers to make that, this platformized model all the more seamless and all the more consolidated. So data does not need to be in separate silos. It can be all unified and flow between one application and the other. So those are some of the sneak peek features coming on GoTo Resolve, which we're very excited about, but there's so much more. We're constantly building on top of our GoTo Contact Center offering as well. We are, in fact, the only provider that brings phones, that brings meetings, that brings messaging and help desk ticketing, which was in fact recently launched on our GoTo Connect portfolio, all together in one application, right? So the key message here is that consolidation, cutting costs, and improving efficiency are key when you're looking at adapting to the challenging economic conditions. So both IT support and communications are necessary products to keep a business running and to keep employees and customers engaged. Yet no one other than GoTo is currently bringing together this functionality in a single, all-in-one, unified experience for SMBs.
Well, that's great news, and it's good to see that the platform is well stocked with future developments and some surprises to come, which is always good for the customers to know. Now, one other question I always like to ask of the people that I'm interviewing is if you could please share a memory of your first computer.
Wow. Okay. My first computer. That's a very good question. Well, my first interaction, as far as I can remember, with a computer dates back to when I was in high school, right? As you can imagine, at that time we had, this was in the early 2000s, right? So we had very few computers in our computer lab. Each of us got 30 minutes a week to get trained on how to use them,
Wow.
right? We were learning C programming at that time. So that was my first exposure, and it was filled with a lot of awe and excitement, right? Because computers, right? Some what are these big machines that we're suddenly being given access to, right? And these were those big boxy computers with the horizontal CPUs and those the box type,
Monitors.
the personal computers.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that was my first exposure, and I was very fascinated. We were allowed 30 minutes a week, so in between our training, we would, play those games, which were those very analog games that were available on them, and then I couldn't wait, to be able to spend more time with them. So yeah, fortunately, my
So,
career has enabled that. Yeah.
well, I mean, the technology today makes that early tech look so primitive. But I mean, presumably that was the moment that sort of got you excited and interested about tech. And what's a little bit of your work history since then until you've joined GoTo?
Yeah. So like I was saying, so that was my first exposure to computers, right? And then obviously built a lot of fascination, a lot of interest in that space. And so during college, I decided to take on a part-time job during my summer holidays, and I joined a company as a tech support engineer, right? So not a lot of people know this, but I was working part-time as tech support engineer, providing tech support to our customers
You would have loved
across
having
India.
GoTo. You would have loved having GoTo Resolve back then, right?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. So much easier, right? Because I remember back then,
Yeah.
even we were using so many different tools for different things, right? So we had a different work solution. We had a different solution to access the customer data, this different CRM. Tickets would come in a different tool, all of that. So yeah, it's truly GoTo Resolve would have been a blessing at that time. But yeah, so I joined as a tech support engineer, and that gave me exposure to how software works, what are the different types of tools that's out there. And eventually I moved into, and that wasn't, how my career progressed. Of course, I got into solution consulting. I got into, being able to demonstrate IT solutions, SaaS-based, cloud-based technology for potential customers. And then I got into selling them, right? So I was into sales of software selling, as well as account management, customer relationship management for a while. And then now I'm back to, being in a pre-sales role, which is, helps me combine my love for technology and solution, problem solving into one. And that's what I love about it.
So my second last question is simply to ask if you can please share some of the best advice you've received in life to help you get where you are today.
What's the best advice I've received till date? All right. If I think back, a lot of the advice I'd say, all the most impactful statements that I've learned over the years has been more from my non-human best friends, which are my books, right? Because I've been an
Right.
avid reader since my childhood, and some of the stories, some of the quotes, some of the learnings from these books have stuck with me a lot over the years. But I think I'd say I'd pick one that's more relevant, that's more recent, and I think a lot more people would be familiar with, which is Steve Jobs' quote, right, which he spoke in his commencement speech at Stanford University some years back, and that's been like a very impactful quote that I've literally saved on my phone. It's been my wallpaper a couple of times. He says, your time is limited, right? So don't waste it. Don't waste your time living somebody else's life, right? Don't be trapped by. I think he says dogma. Dogma is basically living, your life based on somebody else's opinions, right? And letting their opinions drown out your inner voice, right? To have that courage to follow your heart, follow your intuition. Somehow, they already know what you want and what you want to become, right? Everything else is secondary. And so that quote was very inspiring for me, and it has been one of the best advice that I've received. Yeah,
I think it applies to us all.
absolutely.
So, what is your final message to I2R viewers and readers, and to your current and future customers and partners?
Well, I'd like to simplify all of what I've been saying through this interview into a few key points, right? Which is at GoTo, we were formerly called as LogMeIn. We provide a suite of online collaboration and IT support tools that are built for you, for SMBs, to support your growing business and to navigate the problems that we know you are facing in this current state of flexible work. But we understand that businesses like you your needs are continually evolving, and our tools will help you keep to keep up with those demands and those changes, right? So we therefore continually listen to the needs of small businesses through our partnership with the Small Business Association or our partnership with Sydney Football Club. All of our partnerships, all of our vendors, our partners, our distributors, and our customers are our basically our the feedback that we take from all of these are our grounding principles on how we conceptualize developments on our products, how we build our roadmaps for the future, right? So as to some of our flexible work software, is GoTo Connect, which is giving you communication solutions, that is meeting, messaging, your webinars, your virtual trainings, all of that on one consolidated solution. And then on the IT support, we've got GoTo Resolve, and we've got Rescue and Central, which are point solutions built for remote monitoring and management, remote support for small businesses, as well as for enterprise customers, right? We have nearly 800,000 customers today, and these contribute to more than 1 billion people that join our meetings, that join our classes and webinars through our collaboration tool. And we've got over 500 million connections on our remote support tools today. And lastly, by building secure, easy to use software, GoTo is committed. We are committed to ensuring that the time at work that you spend is well spent, but the time that you spend outside of work is even better spent.
Well, Natasha Rock, the remote support group lead APAC at GoTo, it's been great to see the platform at work, to learn about it, to use the platform to talk today. I wish you the best of success for the future, and I do hope we can speak again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Alex, for giving us this opportunity. It's been really a pleasure to talk to you about GoTo and show you how the platform works. Thank you so much. And I do look forward to speaking sometime in the future. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.